Hi guys, my name is Yuli and welcome to Nerd Alert, where we talk about everything nerdy. For today's video, I'm going to talk about my favorite reads of the month, because this month I read a total of like 12 books, and I'm so excited because I haven't read that many books in ages. Now, granted, two of them were graphic novels and those two were Eden Zero, 1 and 2, but all of the rest were normal novels, and most of them were kind of like short contemporaries with a few very big fantasy books. And today I'm going to start with the first two contemporary novels just because they're the shortest ones and I don't have that much to say about them. Now I'm going to try and keep this video kind of like short-ish and concise, but I don't know, I will fail because these are all books that I love, so I'm just going to ramble about them and it's not going to be like a professional type of video. And also I'm not going to summarize any of these books, but I'm going to link them all in the description down below, along with my reviews if I have reviews, whether they are video ones or not. The first book that I want to talk about is a YA LGBTQ plus contemporary, and it's called I Wish You All the Best. It features a non-binary character called Ben and a boy, and I really loved this book so much. It's bittersweet, it's heartbreaking, it's so good, and I loved reading about Ben's story because after they come out to their family as non-binary, they get kicked out, and their sister basically invites them to live with her and her husband. And I actually really loved their dynamics because the sister is estranged to the family because of some past conflict that they had, and it gets explained with time why that's the case and why that happened. But I really love it because the sister does her best to just build her relationship with Ben again, and she's also feeling guilty for leaving them alone with their parents for such a long time after she left the house when she was 18. And yeah, I really love that because after Ben came out, their parents and they didn't accept it. This is in the synopsis, by the way, so it's not a spoiler. Ben just struggled so much with wanting to come out, but at the same time being afraid to do it because of the way their parents reacted in the beginning. And I also think this was kind of like informative for me personally because I don't really know much about gender identity and non-binary people, and I loved this book so much, and I also liked the way it explained it. I just really loved the story. I loved Ben and the sister's dynamic. I already forgot her name, I'm sorry. And I also loved Ben's friend, whose name I also forgot because I haven't done my research and I don't remember. But I just loved everything. I just love this book so much. I don't own it physically, but I'm going to buy it at some point and just have it on my shelf because I love it so much and I'm going to reread it. Yeah, it tackles a lot of important topics like coming out to your parents, to a religious family. I just really love this story. I love Ben as a character and their struggle with everything and how they express it through their art. And at the same time, I feel like this book also tackles very well the artist's struggle of their own art in general, how we as creators view what we make way more harshly than anybody else does. I really loved that part, and I also loved Ben's friend. He was so accepting and supportive of Ben. I just really loved it, and I'm just so happy that I decided to read this book, and I also really love the cover as well. I really do recommend the book for everybody who is interested, and honestly I can't wait to buy it and reread it because I just love it so damn much. Now, the second book that I'm going to talk about is one that I have talked about before on this channel about the YA contemporaries that I read, which is somewhere here linked. And this is Date Me Bryson Keller. It is indeed one of my favorite books of this month, and I actually bought it and reread it. And look at this cover, I love it way more than this cover, but also I have so many tabs. I just annotated so much, and I have like this here. I have this whole thing that I almost never do, but when I got this book, I knew that I needed to personalize it. I needed to just annotate it, talk about it, and just write everything in it. I reread it immediately after I got it, so I read it twice this month. I counted it twice in my wrap-up because I read it twice in this month, and this never happens. I never reread a book so soon after reading it for the first time, but honestly, I just love it so much. It's so cute. It tackles again coming out, outings, coming out to your religious family and all that, and I just love it so much. I've talked about it already, so I don't think that I should have to talk about it too much, but also something that I noticed was that in the I think this is the author's note. He mentions the manga 7 Days, Monday, Sunday, and that is why I decided to read this book, because it reminded me of the film that is based on this manga, because when I first watched the film, I didn't actually realize it was a manga until I started watching the film, and then I checked out the manga and it was basically the same thing as the film. So yeah, I absolutely love this book. It's not as similar to the manga as it sounds. It's not. It has a bit more development, the characters have a bit more personality, but I absolutely love it, and I'm excited for this author's next book, and I'm definitely going to buy it and read it because I just love this one so damn much. I just love it. Okay, so the next book that I should have probably started with, since it was my first read of the month, is Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. I absolutely love this book. I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars. I don't even remember anymore on Goodreads, and I have a very long review, so I'm going to link that below in the description. Originally I wanted to do a reading vlog of it, but I just felt like it wasn't really saying anything concise or like critical enough or just good enough for like a whole video, so I didn't really end up doing it. But look at these tabs. I have so many tabs, I have so many notes. I absolutely love this book. It has a very good and well-developed world building, cultures, conflicts, characters. I love the character dynamics in this book the most, and the first half of it is slow, but because I knew that it would be slow to like set up the things that were to come in the second half, I didn't mind it as much, and I was taking my time with it, just reading and enjoying the writing and the people and the world and the magic and everything. Now the magic is a bit on like it's a bit on the soft side for now anyway, but I'm still very intrigued by it. I absolutely loved everything about it. I loved how there were like two relationships between the characters that were basically enemies to friends, or more like enemies to reluctant allies, to friends who were willing to die for each other, and I absolutely love that. So many things happened in this book that I just can't believe it. I want to read the next one immediately. This is definitely one of my favorite reads of the month, but also of the year so far as well, because I absolutely love this book so much. If you want something a bit more critical and in more detail, you should check out my review because it's very long and I talk about the characters in detail and all that jazz, but honestly, I just love it so much. The next book that is also my favorite read of the month, but also of the year so far, is Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson, and I tabbed it so much, and I have like a few on top, and honestly, I absolutely loved this book so much. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did upon my first reread, because I heard so many things that just made me so afraid of reading the series, because it's known as one of the most complex fantasy series out there, or the most complex fantasy series out there, and I just felt like I wouldn't be able to like understand it or something. I felt like it would be hard for me to read, but the writing is amazing. It flows so well, and the book is, I just could read it so fast. In the beginning, I started by reading like a chapter a day, just because I wanted to get used to the writing in the world, and kind of like to the pattern of the writing, to so to put it. But honestly, it's not complex for the first book anyway at all. It is a bit like, what I like to consider this book as is like the first piece of a puzzle, and I have heard that these books, like the whole series, is just better with every reread, because you just find new clues all again and again. And I could see that while reading this. I know that I have missed a bunch of things, so I would be so excited to reread it when I finish the series, because I know that I will discover a lot more things. But honestly, I fell in love with this world and the characters and the story, and while in the beginning I wasn't sure where the plot was going, after like the first two parts I kind of like got the hang of it, and then it's kind of like, it kind of gets obvious at the very end where the plot is going to, but honestly I didn't really care about it, because it just was following the story. As I said, I take it as the first piece of a puzzle, so I didn't really mind that it was slow, or that the plot wasn't really obvious in the beginning, because I was just ready for something very complex. So this didn't end up being as complex as I was afraid it would be. But honestly, I'm not saying that it's simple. It's not. It's so good. I love the writing. I love the characters. I love the conflicts and everything. I enjoyed reading this so much. I took my time with it, and I didn't force myself to read too much of it. But honestly, once I got used to the writing, to the world, to the characters, I just wanted to binge read all of the books at once. And honestly, I really hope I can get to the second book soon. I know that it takes place in a different continent with different characters, but I can't wait to get to it, and I can't get to meet these characters again, because I absolutely love it. I love the story so much, and honestly, it's one of the best books that I've read so far this year, and I just still love it so much that I just want to binge read the whole thing. But I've recently found out that I'm not really that good at binge reading anymore. But yeah, I just absolutely love this. I would recommend it to people who are interested in it. I would say that it's not as intimidating as people make it out to be, but that is only if you go into it expecting for it to be like very hard, because the writing is easy to read, and I'm always surprised when the writing flows. The same thing goes with The Legacy of Ash. The writing is easy to follow, so even though the story is more complex and more like traditional fantasy, it's easier to follow and like take in because of the writing, and it works for both of these books, and I absolutely love them for it. And also, I have so many questions and things that I want to see more of. I want to see more of the characters, I want to see more of the magic of the world, of everything, and I just can't wait to continue reading this series, because yes, I've been waiting to read this for such a long time, because I just wanted to get used to the high fantasy genre before I dived into this series, and I just can't wait to read more of it. Last but not least, it's a book that I haven't actually finished yet, but I have about 100 pages left, and I know that I'm going to finish it today. And this is The Burning White by Brent Weeks. Now, this isn't my all-time favorite book. It's not my favorite book of the year yet. It maybe depends on how it ends, but I just wanted to include it in this video before I have finished it, because I'm pre-filming this. But honestly, this book, so I read the first 4 books in November of 2019, and I absolutely loved them. But because I binge read them, I started getting a bit annoyed by a few of the characters. So when I first started reading this back in November or the beginning of December, I was kind of very annoyed at Tia, Caris, and Gavin, and I really didn't want to read about them. All I wanted to read about was Kip, and I was getting so annoyed that I didn't have enough parts about Kip. It was all about Caris, Gavin, and Tia, who are the main characters, but they aren't the main characters, because Kip is the main main character. The book was mostly about him, at least, I mean, the series was mostly about him before it got all of these extra points of views. And I put down this book temporarily in the beginning of December at page 390, and I picked it up again this month. I decided on a whim that I wanted to finish it finally, and I still have the audiobook, so I'm listening to it mostly as an audiobook, and I absolutely love it. I just love it so much. I'm so glad that I decided to put it down and pick it back again when I was in the mood for it, because I missed the world and the characters and the dynamics, and I'm like this much, I have this much left, just this part here, and I just can't wait to finish it after finishing with this video, because I am so excited to see how the story wraps up. I can kind of see where things are going, and I'm actually in the middle of some of the most intense scenes for the whole series. And honestly, I am going to probably film a review about the whole series in general, where I talk about the books and the series as a whole, just because I have reviews on Goodreads for all 4 of these books, so I'm going to link them down below, along with this one if I write anything about it. But then I'm going to make a video about the whole series, because obviously I haven't really talked about the first 4 books, and I read them so long ago that I don't remember enough of them to actually review them individually, and I don't really want to reread them right now, but I would definitely consider rereading them in the future, because I love this series so much, and it's probably one of my favorite series right now. I didn't want to include it in favorite series before when I was talking about them, because I haven't finished this book, and I had almost DNF'd it. But honestly, I absolutely love this one. And yes, the beginning is kind of slow, but the second half of this book is amazing, and it is 900 pages, and like, just look at this. This book is 700 pages, and this book is 900 pages, but Legacy Rush just looks way bigger than this one. I just love this book. I love the characters, I love the development in the characters, I love the fights, I love the twists and turns this book takes. And I just also love the cover. I just can't wait to finish it and finally see this series to an end. And yes, that's basically it. So many of my reads this month ended up among my favorite reads of the month and of the year, and I'm so excited about it, because I'm so glad that I read so many books, and also so many of them are so good, which it has been such a long time since I read a book that I just wanted to gush about and didn't know what else to say, but I love it and I like it and I want to read more of it. And yes, that's basically it for today. So these are my favorite books of the month. These are just half of the books that I read in May, and they are just my absolute favorite, and so many of them are my favorite books of the year so far as well. Tell me, what are your favorite books that you read in May? Did you find a new favorite of all time maybe? And do you have any of these books on your TBR? If you do, let me know which ones, and see you soon with a new video. Bye guys!